Instructions started appearing in the form of writing on the mirror, and this was called the blood contract. At the end, I needed to sign with my own blood. So after reading the contract, something pricked me on my index finger, and when I looked, it was a snake. It was moving away and blood was coming out from my finger. This is my confession. Please keep me anonymous. Growing up, life was hard for me. I was the firstborn at home, and my mother passed away. My father poisoned her. Before she died, she told me that my father had poisoned her because she wanted to divorce him, and she gave me a box that I should hide this box from anyone else in the house, and I should open it after the funeral. So during the funeral, there was a lot of people coming in and going out. I ended up losing this box, but I suspected it was my dad that took the box, because I found him in my room walking up and down. And when I asked him what he was looking for, he started acting as if he was confused. My dad was not my biological father, and I also believe that this box had information on who my real father is, and it would have led me to my biological father. My father had a sister who never liked me, and she was the one that broke it to me the other day when we are having an argument that my father is not actually my real father. My stepfather never appreciated anything I did. He called me a failure, no matter how well I did, and it became worse when I got pregnant in school, and he forced me to quit school to look after my son. He treated me really awful. He made all the other siblings hate me, and they started disrespecting me too and treating me badly. They were emotionally abusive towards me, treated me like a nobody. I got fed up and decided to move out of the house, and I rented a small room that was not far from home because they were maltreating my son, and I wanted to be near him too. After a while, I saved enough money and I went home and collected my son. I was selling tomatoes door to door to make a living, to get money to take care of me and my son. And one evening, I was going back to my room. My child was crying so bad because he was hungry, and suddenly an old woman stopped me. She told me that she always sees me with my baby on my back every day, and she thinks that the baby is restless because he gets tired of being on my back every day. She offered to babysit for me while I go and come back every evening to pick up my baby, so that I can be able to go to different places and locations to sell and get enough money. Well, I accepted that offer. I was so happy because things would be easier for me. I realized that it seemed that she knew me more than I know, because on many occasions she will mention my family. So one day she asked me if I didn't want to stop selling door to door and have my own fruit and vegetable supermarket. I didn't take it serious because she was just an old woman. She doesn't have any money or connection to make it happen for me. But she kept talking about this supermarket idea every day. But one day she said something that caught my attention. She said she knows a powerful juju man who can make it happen for me. At first I was skeptical about it, but then the more she spoke about the idea, the more I gave into it and eventually became interested about it. So one day we prepared and she took me to a juju man. He lived next to a brick. So one day we prepared and she took me to a juju man. He lived next to a big river. This river cannot be seen in the daytime. It only exists in the night. On getting there, we had to throw some coins in the river to ask for permission to see the juju man. Before coming to this place, you had to be pure, no menstruation, and a 3 weeks period free from sex. We were asked to take off our clothes before we entered. The minute we entered the house, I felt something strange. My heart started beating so fast. I whispered into the lady's ears that we should leave, but then she ignored me. There was a big mirror. The room felt like we were inside the water because it was so cold, and I suspect that maybe the house was inside with water Maybe the water just disappears when visitors approach. Also, I did not see the juju man. I only heard his voice, and he spoke to me through the mirror. His voice sounded like he was speaking from a very big hole because he had echo, yet it was so deep and loud. He told me about my life from when I was a child until this point. Information he had no way of knowing. I was shocked. He made me remember my mom and the way my dad treated her. I was so sad. He also reminded me of how my father and my siblings maltreated me. This made me so angry. My blood was boiling. I started to develop a very deep hatred for my siblings at the spot. I suddenly got the urge to destroy them in any way possible. Suddenly, the mirror started showing me a vision of me being so rich, owning lots of supermarkets, with a huge house, with my son living a soft life that he deserved. So I asked, what do I do in order to have all of this? Instructions started appearing in the form of writing on the mirror, and this was called the blood contract. At the end, I needed to sign with my own blood. So after reading the contract, something pricked me on my index finger, and when I looked, it was a snake. It was moving away and blood was coming out from my finger, but it was not much, just enough to allow me sign on the mirror to complete the blood contract. After that, the old lady told me that we had to leave, and when we were leaving, we have to face down. I shouldn't talk to anyone or look back until I arrive home. Time passed, nothing happened, but a month later, I heard that my little brother was stabbed to death by his peers. I was not bothered because I know I have used them for sacrifice in the blood contract. So that day, instead of me going out to sell my tomatoes, people were the ones coming to my house to buy. From far and wide, people located me. Some came far from very, very far. Nothing special about my tomatoes, but the power was beginning to work. I started to make a lot of profit. My business was growing so fast. I started building a supermarket, and within 3 months it was ready, and I launched my business. It was very successful from the start. People were coming far and wide to purchase from me in my supermarket. A year later, I opened a second one. About the same time, my sister passed away too. I did not give a fuck. My dad at this time had tried to start getting close to me and started going around telling people that he knew one day I would be successful. My business was booming, but it began to hurt me because I knew that my money was blood money, and I thought to myself that things didn't have to be this way. I was so empty deep down, with a guilty conscience sipping from my gold cup. I tried reversing the contract, but I was told to wait 5 more years or I was going to lose my son and my sanity. Losing my son would destroy me, and the old lady started ignoring me. And I also feel like I was living with an invisible animal in my house. There is always movement at night and strange sounds that I hear in my house, and I have camera all over the house, but then the camera only show objects that are moving, but not what is moving them. All my siblings have passed away. I am much closer with my stepdad now. I am taking care of him because of the guilt I feel inside of me. I feel like there is a need to do this because of everything I did. I felt like he did not deserve it that much. So now that my siblings are all gone, the ritual targets everyone that I become close with, and I'm very tired at this point. I no longer enjoy life the way I used to, and honestly, I don't even know how to end this thing or fix everything to go back to normal. Yeah, this is the story of my life.